and calculation.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are live from the floor of Cyber Sports Arena here in Kiev, and it's time now for our knockout round. It begins, Ben, with a bang. It's Secret versus Tinker. You said possibly your favorite match of the entire tournament. Should be a fantastic showdown between these two teams, and it will be our first best-of-3 match of the event. So we get to see a full series. We get to see the teams kind of adapt to each other's picks and look to react, respond. They already know each other fairly well. They both play in the European region, and they've played quite a bit of tournaments lately. And they've gotten to see each other on LAN. So they're not coming into this blind. And with that said, we'll run through our rosters real quickly. On the side of Secret, we've got Puppy, No Tail, S4 with that, devilish grin, if we can call it that. Kuroki, and of course, Simba on the side of Tinker, Bulba, Koikfa, Sing Sing, Pycat, and EGM. Quite a few players who were cast-offs. Initially people were joking about Tinker as Team Reject. Obviously fantastic players, but in the case of at least two of them, they were somewhat booted from their team. So, anyway, the draft is underway now.
Yeah, both teams are kind of a motley crew.
That's for sure. Well, draft is underway. We talked about Wisp briefly. We didn't have time to really break down the heroes too much, but you mentioned Tinker can play it, so they don't have to ban it if they have first pick or if they're not afraid of it, but I think anyone should be afraid of it in the hands of Secret. And they will. First overall pick the Wisp. The bans elsewhere. The Legion commander of Tinker was removed. We've seen teams starting to do this more and more. They can run it on pretty much anyone. They're very versatile with it. I like the ban. Second stage bans. It's 4 tempo controllers for Tinker. Brew, Tide, Doom, and Void. That's a lot of team fight to take out of the game. But it leaves the rest of the board entirely open.
Death Prophet has been completely ignored.
Razor's
been completely ignored, as has, I actually think, Sand King and Sky are actually both pretty good and also have been completely ignored. Well, Tinker doesn't really need to deal with it because Secret actually picked up their supports very, very early on. We've seen a lot of AA today, just kind of out of nowhere after...
that solo mid AA, that was a blast from the TI1 past.
But Ember Spirit's very good at killing an AA and decent at killing Disruptor. Not wonderful, but decent enough. And between the two of them, they only have 1 silence, and that's an ultimate.
I'm liking this draft for Tinker so far. They're up against a Disruptor and an Ancient Apparition. 0 reliable stuns. They do have the Puck silence. They have Static Storm later on. Potentially this can be enough to lock down the Ember, but that's where the Wisp can come in handy. The defensive relocates out, relocate in to try and heal them and keep them alive, and it's a game where Ember could snowball. And as you mentioned, these first 2 picks are squishy. Puck is also squishy. A little bit more mobile, but I think this could be a great Sing Sing Ember Spirit game.
They also have no anti-BKB on Secret, which means that they have to get an early game lead. And I don't know. Ancient Apparition, Disruptor, not the best roaming duo, not the best laners. They're okay at harassing and zoning out, but they don't really specialize in that much prior to level 6. Not that great at stacking.
How did Skywrath get ignored that long? 4th pick, and it's for the team that had the second 4th pick.
Huge versus Timber, great versus Puck. Good burst to follow up with Ember Spirit.
And the Skywrath Wisp duo is so scary. The burst damage they bring to the table, their mobility is not to be underestimated. This is a very quick draft from both teams. They're just rapid-fire machine gun status.
And as Secret has gone to multiple times, the Timbersaw for Simba. He plays a pretty nasty one. I would like to see a little bit more flexibility out of his hero pool, but Puppy seems to like it a ton. Why not? Good frontline for them. And the mystery is, what is Kuro's hero going to be? I highly doubt it'll be a Medusa this game.
Is it a Spectre game, maybe? Too greedy?
Not sure. It doesn't... I think they need something more early game-ish, just because that's where their lineup...
Gyro.
It's all about the early game for them. Early game aggression and maybe a little bit of team fight. They could go with Naga Siren, too.
There's also Clinks and Weaver, both of whom are pretty good at assassinating the Wisp. Come online fairly early. They are somewhat vulnerable to Skywrath, but Tinker are fairly late on lockdown in their own right. I mentioned that Secret have good silences, but very few stuns, and Tinker only have a Skywrath Mage stun there and chains, but that's not good, reliable lockdown. For a hero like a Weaver. So it's a possibility anyway. We haven't really seen that as much from Crow. It's more been the Clinks if they want an assassin. Let's find out.
Faceless Void would have been fantastic for them. Great setup, but Tinker's already banned that out. And really, I think they need either some sort of setup, like Naga faces Void.
He does play a decent amount of Naga, but it's often been in a dual lane mid Wisp roll, and that won't be the case. They go for the AM.
The other route is going for a Blinker versus EO if you want to farm it up. Anti-Mage is like okay here, but he's not amazing. He's pretty good at kiting the Razor, though, and very elusive if he can get his farm up.
And we've got some interesting stats here. With these three heroes, they played 3 games, and they have a 0% win rate for Secret. That's a decent sample size for a set of 3 heroes.
It is. Oh. It is indeed.
And in fact, the win rate on the... That Timbersaw win rate seems really low. Oh, it's Timbersaw and Ancient Apparition together? Have they... That seems like a lot of games. 37 matches?
Maybe it's just this year for...
Oh, I think it's not for this team. It's in general for this combo. Okay, I was probably reading the stats wrong. Whoops. Well, Batrider now the final choice for Koikfa. And this is some much-needed lockdown for Tinker, as my Dota just froze, but looks like it will unfreeze in the nick of time. And now they've got something, but it still feels like both teams could get out of control quickly with the Ember Spirit and the Bat to some extent, and particularly I think Secret with this Puck Anti-Mage Timbersaw. Both very snowballish lineups due to the lack of proper stuns in lockdown.
I like Tinker's lineup a decent amount more than Secret's. Secret's just requires a lot of finesse to be able to pull off. You have to win your lane as Puck, which is not terribly easy versus an Ember or a Razor, whoever he may be up against. Not really any lockdown for Ember Spirit, not an easy way to take down Razor. And then on top of that, they had to deal with a Batrider. So, I don't know. Secrets is... It will do a lot of damage, and if Anti-Mage gets farm, yeah, of course he'll carry, but...
They also desperately do need a Blink Dagger on their Puck, or some crazy levels on the Disruptor, because without that, they have nothing on the Ember. Whereas your Bat, you know he can go to the jungle and find his Blink. That's not really the case. At the same time, it's in the capable hands of S4. And with that, we get underway very quickly here with our opening knockout bracket match. It's not an elimination game, but it will be an important winner bracket game. The winner moves on to the winner bracket finals and is guaranteed a top 3 placement. The loser only guaranteed top 6, and the prize money steeply drops off. And with that said, let's introduce our teams. On the Radiant, you've got Secret. They looked a little shaky on day 1, managed to combo together 2 wins on the back of some great comebacks from this guy, Big Daddy No Tail, with a long tail, so a bit of a misnomer there. This is like no Tidehunter picking the Tide on the Disruptor. Kuroki will be playing your Anti-Mage, seed mostly by Alliance as of late. S4, the Puck that puts Puppy onto the Ancient Apparition, and then that leaves Simba as the off-lane Timbersaw. And then over to Team Tinker, they're busy deforesting. Bulba, the Skyreth Mage, EGM, he's been fantastic on the Wisp historically. He was so again earlier today, as they ran that Axe strat to perfection early, though it fell off a bit later on, and then came roaring back in the late game. He'll be on the IO. That puts Bulba onto the Skyreth Mage, Pycat your Razor, Quake for your offlane Bat, and it leaves Sing Sing as the Ember. No big contest here from Tinker. They just dropped down an Observer Ward of their own. They did see Secret move into this lane, so they might know there's an obs in that area. And on the side of Secret, no wards placed in the Radiant side, or the Dire side of the map.
So one thing about Tinker's lineup is that Razor can pretty much go as aggressively as he wants in mid with near impunity, because he's not really going to get punished by an AA in a Disruptor. At the same time, Koikfa might not have the easiest time on bottom lane because of that pesky old glimpse.
S4 does get the slightly better creep block here, and that will make life a bit harder for Pycat, starting out with the denied, so off to a good start, very early. Offlane Timbersaw, how do you think he's going to fare this game? Up against an Ember Spirit with a Skyraj as support, EGM off in the jungle looking for the early double pulls. Do you think this is a game where we could see a lot accomplished by Simba?
I think so. I think mostly they'll be focusing on the Puck and the Anti-Mage as far as potential lasso targets. And that leaves Timber to do whatever he wants. But at the same time, he's not going to have an easy time farming. And if he lets the 2 supports play as greedy as they would like, which we see EGM already with a double stack and Bulba stacking up the big cam one, so we're already talking about 3 stacks just 1 minute into the game. You know, he's going to be super underfarmed in relation to the other heroes.
Yeah, they are giving Simba a little bit more space because they're busy stacking, but this is a lineup that can clear those stacks. Batrider's great at it. In fact, Koikfa's already rotated And he's going to abandon this off lane, at least for now, and perhaps just looks for the quick Blink Dagger. Firefly's now skilled up. He'll look to clear a wave. So early on, S4 doing very well against this Razor. 7-1 with the superior creep block. It's going to be free farm for Kuro's anti-mage, though he's tanking a creep wave in the process as his supports went for the tri-pull. They'll finish off now the Ursa and get some good experience early on Big Daddy. So free farm for anti-mage, pretty much free farm for your Ember. Sing Sing already 7-5. Mid lane, a wash for now. Seems like more is being gained out of the jungle early for Tinker, though. That could be the X factor. The stacks and the lineup that can clear them very quickly.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're not getting experience in their off lane.
That's true.
Whereas Simba is level 2.5, about to hit level 3.
So they have 2 triple stacks and a double stack that's being pulled around now.
They do have a golem, though, and that will hinder Koikva.
Unfortunate. Won't stop him completely, but will limit him a bit. And he's going to look for another stack. Has the level 2. And if he continues to stack this big camp, should be able to farm up the quick Tranquil Boots if he wants it, or he can just go straight towards the Blink. They're leaving Kuro alone for now. And they're not really putting pressure either. I mean, you mentioned how secret supports don't pressure well early, but so far we're not seeing Tinker do much there either. Very economically oriented game early on.
Yeah, both of the safe lane melee carries are forced to tank creeps, but at the same time, Sing Sing CS is much worse than Kuro's 17 and 11.
Yeah, he's currently letting a wave chase him around just to try and keep it off the tower. And Ember, unless he pops his Flame Guard, can struggle a bit for these last hits. No Quelling Blade. Generally, you don't see the hero pick it up. And Kuro has the superior base damage by a little bit. Plus, you can jump in from Simba now. It's only level 2 Timber Chain. Can't get a kill, but he is taking the fight to Bulba. He chains in again. Maybe he can get a kill. He's got the boots. They were trying to bait him. Now they silence, but I don't know if they get in range in time. They get off the chains. Another Timber Chain's ready. He's out of range of the tower. Simba overexpands. First blood to Tinker. Well baited by Bulba. He underestimated how quickly they could turn on him.
Well baited indeed, and this is buying time for Koikva. Level 4 off that huge creep camp. I think it was a quad stack at that point.
EGM's Wisp, it's not just like the Wisp mechanics of the fights, but it's this early efficiency. We see the same thing out of FY, we see it out of MMY, and they just get as much out of the support hero as possible, even from the word go.
I think that...
and No-Tail, of course.
Simba underestimated the level of Bulba. I think he just hit level 3 right as he was running away, and right after he Timber Chain, and then boom, Ancient Seal, and unable to escape to safety.
They want to go on mid here. Big Daddy has a skill point in reserve. He's going to skill up Kinetic Field now and drops it perfectly. Pycat Trap within will be dropping to the 3-hero rotation. Well, 2 rotating, 1 sitting mid. Nice pick off there and a turn for Secret. They're trying to punish this greed in the jungle. Still, your Batrider's farming well. Your Wisp already has hit level 4. It is a sacrificial lamb in the Razor and a nice kill, but we look early at experience, and it is a Tinker lead as they cleared out those stacks, and Gold's still going their way too.
Yeah.
A slight lead, though.
Anti-Mage going for an early Band of Elven Skin. Not exactly sure what that is for. Usually if you have complete free farm, you'll see, Quelling Blade into straight Battle Fairy. Simba on top.
Oh my goodness, look at him melt to the Flame Guard. The Chain's Flame Guard combo, when you throw just the level 1 Ancient Seal, it's all magic damage from Ember. He just got shredded. And they're starting to give Sing Sing a lot of room and space in this lane. Yeah, early Band of Elven Skin, I think the Courier was in use, so he's like, well, I'm not going to try and get the early Broadsword or Voidstone. I'll just grab some extra last hitting since I'm not under any pressure.
Yeah, but I think Quelling Blade's far more efficient. Band of Elven Skin only gives you 6 damage, and Quelling Blade gives you much more than that.
He doesn't want to sell his branch, though. You need that good luck.
GG branches.
I miss them actually being called GG branches, but it lives on in spirit anyway, for the old Dota 1 fans out there.
Well, apparently if you type GG into the shop, it comes up as a branch.
Really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
GG.
I think they even have some other games, like versions of those names as well. The games that shall not be named. But the key here for me right now, Ben, is that they are about to get this Koikva Blink Dagger. S4 quite a bit farther off of his. The Timber's obviously been shut down. The supports of Secret are doing decently for levels, but they aren't really initiators. They're more counter-initiators and pick-off artists. But when it comes to a big team fight, it's the Bat and the Ember who should reign supreme, at least for the next 5 to 6 minutes. They'll have their openings.
Yeah, and if they aren't going to contest the anti-mage's farm, at least they should try and hinder the Blink Dagger on the puck, especially with that early kill on him.
S4 does see his former teammate. I think he saw this rune picked up anyway. There's an invis now. That's a fast blink. The crowd applauds it. I believe that's what they're clapping for.
I can't even tell a regular Wisp versus an Invis Wisp.
Yeah. I can't even tell a DD Wisp versus a regular.
I was like, do they not see him? And then I was like, oh, he's Invis.
Well, now he walks right by that sentry again.
They're still stacking, just like non-stop on the side of
They're not
Team
being
Tinker.
punished for this, right? Like every time they've done it, I haven't seen anyone say, okay, you know what, we're going to go into Tinker's jungle and steal
Well,
these.
they can't. These two supports are just not well equipped to do it. They are, I mean, they did get that kill on Pycat though, so responding in some manner.
Kuro begins to apply pressure to the bottom lane, slowly just chipping away at the tower.
Big Daddy just waiting in place for a glimpse.
Oh, the lasso can be attempted now. Koikva caught out. He was silenced to start this off, or not silenced, but just nuked rather. The puck silence was there as a follow-up. And they end up getting the kill. The Batrider Blink Dagger, the first one, a total whiff. Secret were completely prepared for that. And Kuroki actually managed to bring this tower bottom down because he had a double catapult. What a wave.
Wow, what awareness by Secret there. They were just waiting up the hill. That reaction on time on that phase shift by the puck. I mean, everything going their way. And that was with the smoke, too.
Yeah, and that's the Blink Dagger reveal as well. So now next time you go in, you don't have that element of surprise. Great play from Secret. They knew exactly where Tinker wanted to strike, and Kuroki will be left entirely to his own devices. Now sending out the Claymore, rather. So definitely going Battle Fury build as you would expect. And it is a Tinker lineup that struggles to deal with an anti-mage eventually. Through the mid-game, the early to mid-game, perhaps with Lasso and just right-clicks you could bring him down, but at some point he gets the Manta to deal with the chains, as well as the Skyreth Mage Silence, and from there it gets tougher. Koikva now chasing the river. He's kind of forcing the issue on Puppey here, but he won't get in too close and ends up backing off.
They have to be aware that he was planting a ward there. He was so deep into enemy territory without any sort of support, so they should expect the ward either on the high ground next to Roshan or around the Secret Shop or Ancients.
And Fly also getting a bit of breathing room of his own. Now picks up his Arcane Boots. It's a very close game early on. Score 2-2. Golden experience fairly even. Let's see, what is Sing Sing going for? Picks up the Robe of the Magi, so he'll have his drums coming soon. And now he's going to teleport bottom. In fact, all the way to the tier 3. They really want to shut down Kuroki's anti-mage. If they can get the chains off, he won't be able to blink out. And they also do have that blink lasso. He goes in for one more creep, and this is where the lasso comes through. They need the chains, though, from Sing Sing. Will they get him in time? Yes, they do. Kuroki unable to move, but now he can. He'll blink out. They have remnants. Double remnant forward. Kuroki tried to salve. This gets canceled. Sleight of Fist not ready, but not needed either. Great rotation from Tinker, recognizing that Kuroki was starting to get out of control. And they will slow him down with that.
Still, he managed to buy a Quelling Blade just in time, although I don't believe that really salvaged his gold loss there. And looking for a glimpse on Pycat.
They do get the glimpse. Now into a Static Storm. He's pulled back. He's got a Wisp supporting him, though. EGM doesn't have Relocate. After that great early start, he's still only level 4, but Sing Sing will rotate in, looking for Big Daddy. Should be able to finish him off here with another Remnant. Does he want to risk using it offensively, though? He continues to chase. No, he'll back off. And your puck for S4 went down to bottom lane, but he's picked up an Invis. There was a Dire Ward. If they were able to keep eyes on this rune in the midst of that fight, they would have seen it. And now he wraps around past the tier 2. EGM's levels are really slowing down here, Ben. I guess he just didn't leech any experience in the jungle when those stacks were cleared.
Yeah, giving it mostly to Koikva. And Pycat, even though he went like a full defensive build with mass strength with Power Trez Embracer and Magic Wand, he is still just dying to the right click from the Ancient Apparition.
And they will go in mid lane. S4 doesn't have a coil, though. In fact, he gets silenced. Bulba nearly bringing him down by himself. It's the Remnant they'll need to actually score a kill. And they can't quite get in range for it. 4 heroes from Secret congregating near mid. They're playing that 4 protect 1 style, although they are running more of a farming offlaner in the Timber. He's beginning to group up with his team. They want Kuroki to have a safe time farming bottom. And now Sing Sing rotates there. Drums are complete. But like you said, this Razor pick has been surprisingly low impact. He's behind the puck in farm. He's died twice. He didn't really dominate his lane. Only up 4 CS. Granted, he was under a bit of pressure, but he also had help from the Wisp occasionally. You pick that Razor to do a little more in the laning stage.
Still out-CSing the puck a little bit, but S4 is going to have his Blink Dagger in just 300 gold. EO really trying to hit that level 6, just 125 experience away. And then after that, I guess they can probably make better use of Bat Rider's ultimate, but at the same time, they're going to have to find like Anti-Mage not in a creep wave. Same with Puck, or else the Searing Chains might miss.
Then they're smoking behind Curl. They're anticipating some sort of movement onto him. Sing might be the one they catch out. They've got eyes on him. He walks in. They get the vision now. They can't glimpse him. He zipped too far away. So he's able to retreat. And it's a wasted smoke for Secret and a bit of wasted time as well. I think they TP'd 2 or 3 bottom, in fact. So that cost them quite heavily. And now it's Tinker on the smoke of their own. They jumped in towards the river. Simba chaining across the ramp. Now jumping in. Sing doesn't have Sleight of Fist, though, so he's got to walk in. And he walks into Static Storm, into Nukes. Where's the backup? They don't have Relocate ready in time.
Flame Guard?
He ends up just dropping. He didn't pop it. He wasn't expecting it, I guess. And now they glimpse back another. The Skyreth Mage of Bulba caught out. Mono voided by Kuro. Will end up falling. Tinker just a little bit off kilter in these engagements. Although they do find S4 top lane, and they instantly burst him down. He just TP'd right on top of that.
Looking to kill Disruptor, and with that botched TP, looks like they may get a free tower. So, yeah, I'm still not sure why he didn't pop that Flame Guard. He was like chasing uphill into a Disruptor, who has ultimate, and I don't know.
And you want it for the damage anyway, so yeah, it's a little odd. Both teams feeling a little off, honestly. 13 minutes in. It's not been quite at the level that we expect, but they are starting to warm up here on the main stage as we just get underway with our opening best of 3 for the winner's bracket. Ogre Club will now come out for Pycat. At the same time, an Ice Blast hits Koikfa, not enough to shatter him. They do finally have their level 6 for EGM. He actually had it when Sing died, but I think it was just too late for him to get in by the time they realized Sing needed help. But with Relocate on now, the Bat Rider 4-staff nearly complete. Koikfa's got a very fast 4-staff timing to boot. Yeah, and this is with his ganks being kind of Only found the 1 kill bottom.
Their continued greed in the jungle is, as you said, not being punished very badly. Anti-Mage, I think, has his completed Battle Fury, so about a 14-minute Battle Fury for him, and Agi-Treads, so pretty good.
And Quelling Blade. Max efficiency at this point. This is about as fast as you can get it on Kuro. They're looking for the jump in mid, though. Sing got to be careful. There's a glimpse ready. There's a Static Storm. They glimpsed Static Storm, but they didn't. Or, sorry, they Static Storm and Kinetic Field, but don't get the glimpse off. Nor did they get the vision from the Thunderstrike. Very quick reactions by Sing, so he'll retreat.
That's the second time that Big Daddy has led in without a Static Storm. First time on bottom, he tried to use a Thunderstrike first, and that time in mid, he tried to drop a Kinetic Field first. Versus a very elusive hero like Ember Spirit with instant cast on his ultimate, you have to drop that Static Storm so he can't escape the Kinetic Field.
Yeah, and then just hope that you can get the Kinetic Field down in time before he's able to retreat.
Even if he tries to retreat,
they relocate. They found Kuro, but he gets pulled away from where the relocate was coming, so he just blinks out to safety. At the same time, Sing's charging in, slices down 1, looking for more. The coil's gone onto EGM. S4 jumping up to the high ground, but he gets silenced. He gets shredded by Sing. Quick burst damage. Tinker with the double takedown. They all retreat out. They could have had the Anti-Mage if he wasn't pulled the wrong direction. Some miscommunication there, and it's still a 2-0. But that was the key kill they really wanted to get.
And now they have Bulba's ultimate too, which is going to be instrumental in killing Simba as well as the Puck.
Yeah, some of these supports are struggling. Bulba just now hitting level 6. The Ancient Apparition of Puppey had his 6 a bit earlier, but hasn't progressed since then. And Big Daddy's going to pop his little head out bottom lane. They have the Timbersaw rotating in, looking for EGM, but can't quite get the chain or the Chakram to connect as the Ancient Apparition ult splashes forward. They charge on the Bulba. He gets shredded by the Timber. Very good against these squishy supports. And now Pycat caught out in the tree line. Is there a coil? No, there's a glimpse though. And he's pulled back but kept alive by EGM. Nice. Tether as they continue their retreat out. The orb forward, the chase. Chakram off the mark.
Nice 4-step by Koikfa, saving him right there.
And if they keep on chasing, then Sing's going to come in and clean house, but everyone is backing off now. And Kuroki can begin to pull ahead from here, Ben. He's still the leader in net worth. And he has now the completed Battle Fury and the makings of a Yasha picking up his Blade of Alacrity. Tinker's still looking strong, but don't want to just let Kuro get free farm for too much longer. They go in bottom on the fly. Relocate was used. Lasso was used. And can they finish him off? S4 tries to punish this. Ice Blast will shred both. And Simba able to retreat on just a shred of HP. He survives again.
Did they mean to relocate in someone else? I'm not sure if that was...
I actually didn't even see where they came from.
Yeah, I didn't see either.
But they do get Puppey. Oh, TP out. Sing Sing gets the kill. He's getting kills, but it's not the anti-mage they're bringing down, nor is it the Timbersaw. Nice remnant out from Sing Sing. Right as he got pulled back into the Static Storm, he zips away to safety before that silence could kick in. So overall, the Disruptor has not proven very effective against the Ember.
Very nice Observer reward here by the Dire, just out of sentry range and still blocking the spawn. They think it's at the Magic Bush, but indeed it is not. Still, Secret doing a very good job of securing their side of the map, making sure that the jungle can be occupied by Kuro, and at the same time, he can stack up Ancients. So all the camps are pretty much available to them. He doesn't really have to share farm with anyone else, and once he gets his Manta style, can split out of the Ember Spirit, can split out of the Ancient Seal too. There's not really too many ways to kill him aside from Lasso.
Yeah, and even then, if you Manta quickly, you might not Lasso the right one, so it's tough. That was changed, what was it, like 3 patches ago, where it used to be if you Hex someone and then they Manta, it still will Hex the right one, or same for other targeted spells, but now it confuses your target and you have to go for it again, so it's a bit tougher. They will look for the Big Daddy jump, and they get another glimpse into Pycat. He hasn't been very good about killing the Ember, but he's been great about trying to go onto Pycat. This time around, the Wisp is there, though. Relocates him to safety. Wasn't a big commitment from Secret. Well, a rotation was big, but so too was Tinker's. As Kuro scurries away top, he does not want to be a part of these 5v5 fights yet. Well, Blinky up to the high ground now. Maybe he does. He circles back towards mid.
Wow, I'm very surprised that Pycat's going for the...
Ags.
Yeah, Ags over the BKB. Like, look at this magic damage.
He's getting, well, he's got the Wisp backing up. It actually keeps him alive longer than expected, although the Cold Feet will proc a chain through. Big damage from Simba, charging forward, looking to make it a triple, but the chains prevent that Timber chain out. And Sing Sing saves him, makes it a 2 for 2, and now Remnant's in. Sing Sing smells blood in the water. He wants vengeance. He'll get Big Daddy. A 3 for 2. Kuro may end up dropping to the flame break here. Can he blink out? Barely. Barely surviving. No relocate anymore. The Wisp dead anyway.
Wow, that flame break just a tiny bit off the mark, pushing him actually for that last hit. But still, all in all, fairly even. 3 for 3. Yeah, I think a BKB would just be so much more useful for the Razor. Firstly, they can't really stop him from BKBing. No great instant lockdown, long duration at least, that can prevent him from using it. And on top of that, it's just, what, right-click from anti-mage that they really have to worry about?
And there's so much magic damage. There's the Static Storm Silence, which is a bit of an issue. The Puck triple nuke combo. Timbersaw, who's all nuke damage. Anti-mage still has the Mana Burn to worry about. And, well, the Mana Void damage as well, not to be underestimated. Not to mention there's the Ancient Apparition ultimate. And Puppey's even gone for Max Ice Vortex. So, yeah, it's a lot of nuke damage to be ignoring.
I think his mobility is actually something that he really needs to worry about. He just can't move in the kinetic field.
That's also true.
And then on top of that, you have to worry about the Ice Vortex, which is aura-based, so BKB won't help with that. But still, you have to move around as Razor.
Sing Sing 6-1-3. He's off to a powerful start on his Ember. He's had some kind of missed games, I guess you would say, on heroes like Viper earlier in the tournament, but he's looked really good when he gets this Ember in his hands, and Taker have done a nice job of setting him up for early success. Can he keep it going? It's a bit harder to execute that Ember than something like an anti-mage.
Yeah, Ember is his hero, though.
Yeah, if anyone can do it, it's Sing Sing or Ferrari 430. There's a coil, top lane onto Boba. Ice Blast comes through. In the meantime, Razor just throws out a plasma field, saying, I love you, man, but I can't save you this time.
A lot of observer rewards out on the map right now. Secret with some very aggressive ones. Ideally, they would have gotten a much bigger target like Ember Spirit or Razor before pushing up to that lane. But with just a kill on a solo Skywrath with the smoke, they can't proceed into the tower. So that's actually a pretty big deal for them. Anti-Mage just 900 gold away until he gets his Manta style. So his farm is getting a little out of control. But
Manta's so good this game.
Yeah.
Skywrath and Ember. That Manta will serve multiple purposes.
Really good, some really good Mana Void targets too. Batrider and Skywrath. Skywrath a little bit more juicy.
Yeah, juicy and also a bit easier to latch onto in the fights. Well, Kuro hasn't spent his gold yet. He's just waiting for the camp to respawn. They have a double Observer Ward in the Radiant Jungle, the one you mentioned earlier, another one now, but the thing is that Secret are keeping 4 on one side of the map, 1 on the other, and Kuro's even drawing a line out. He's expecting Tinker already to be in his woods. They're only making that move now with Koikfa. But he's prepared for this kind of rotation, so he farms his Ancients, and he may just go into the Dire jungle and farm there. He seems pretty convinced about where they are. Though now he's going to get eyes on a few mid. And he's just going to sit and wait. Actually, he'll clear the wave. He's not overly afraid about getting jumped. Maybe he should be. Chains come through. Pycat leaps in. Can they finish him off in time? Able to blink to safety. Relocate forward. They want to complete this kill. And Kuro the slide. Sing with the big damage. Gets the kill again. Also, meanwhile, in the Radiant jungle, Big Daddy caught out. Looks like he'll end up falling to Koikfa. Another 2 kills, but finally they managed to take down Kuro. 2-2-0, but he hasn't died for a long time.
That was just really bold by Kuro. He didn't have any eyes on the Batrider yet. He was farming the jungle, but he didn't know that. And he was at half HP after clearing the Ancients, then blinks downhill into the tower when 3 are already revealed.
The curious thing is, like, I guess he did see a few mid, but he had just drawn a circle in the Radiant jungle, so he expected Tinker to be there. And even though he saw a few mid, no, relocate top lane again. This one on S4. The Wisp that Secret have used to such great success is being used against them, a double-edged sword in this tournament. It's punishing them heavily now. Another pick-off from EGM and co.
The Ember is getting out of control, though. Like, Sing is playing phenomenally. He is everywhere. He's hitting his Sleight of Fist chains combos. I don't know. He's playing the right amount of aggression and farm, I'd say.
What do you think he goes for? Because I think you can make the same argument about BKB for him. Like, if he gets that, he's invulnerable.
Yeah, if you want to be safe, then sure, BKB is great, especially since Puck is nowhere close to a Scythe of Ice. If you just want to go more YOLO, Crit is always a good option.
Yeah.
Into Rapier. Second Rapier.
Just straight double Rapier after the crit. Merlini Dota at its finest. Well, Sing now holding the wave back. He is playing this very conservatively, though. It's a tenuous lead right now for Tinker. They are up by 4K gold, 4K experience, but Secret are the kind of lineup that win one fight with the Anti-Mage, definitely the better man-fighting carry than an Ember, can get 1 or 2 items more, get out of control, and be unable to stop, or be unstoppable. And he does have his Manta now. At the same time, the back gets a BKB, and maybe this marks the beginning of multiple BKBs for Tinker. Koikfuzz is out. They can work on one for Pycat, which he's close to. Ochre Club's up, 1,300 gold, so he's got the recipe more or less. And Sing, if he once has one component, still a ways for him to go. They could have triple BKB around like the 28 to 30 minute mark. Maybe even a bit sooner.
Yeah, I think that Sing probably won't go for a BKB just because EGM can bail him out and then he can just remnant back in if he wants to, or just wait the time for relocate. So not that big of a deal for him. And we see Secret making a very aggressive move into the opponent's jungle.
They expect Tinker to send someone up this ramp, and EGM is moving dangerously close to it. S4 ready to spring that trap. Silence. Oh, he's going to prey on EGM, but he gets caught up by a chains. EGM dodging away from the Ice Blast, the Static Storm off the mark. Now he's glimpsed back in, but it was a lot of commitment just to kill a Wisp, and it did not address the Sing situation, who leaps forward onto Big Daddy, chains him, and finishes him off with ease. Now surging forward for Puppey. Another slate, another kill. A 2-for-1. They did lose their Wisp, but they're going for more. Koikfa leaping in. He's going to 1v3. He will lasso S4, pulling him way back with a haste rune. S4 now slowed down by Napalm, but his team is just so damn far away. Does he get this kill solo? He will! Had just a plasma field at the end to secure it. Man, I did not think Koikfa was going to find that one. Jesus, he dove far.
Man, and that actually goes to... Oh, buddy. Kuro blows up Batrider.
Yeah, that Monopole working against him there.
But that was off the back of EGM, I'd say. He dodged a couple of ultimates and forced Secret to commit much more than they wanted to, even forcing the Glimpse, which led Ember Spirit to just clean up.
Yeah, they dropped the Static Storm for that. The Timbersaw was throwing those nukes. The Ancient Apparition ult was dodged. And that's just the Wisp. If the Wisp is able to dodge all those spells, then you really have to worry about hitting the Ember. I mean, hell, the Bat and the Razor, who already have one BKB. It's about to be a double.
Well, that's also him walking uphill into a few heroes.
And they were waiting at that exact location. S4 even drew on the map. Like, this is where they're going to come. This is where we spring the trap. That's scary.
Yeah, very nicely played by EGM.
Well, still, Kuroki is essentially free farming. He's died twice, but he picked up a pretty big kill there. Manta Style's been complete, now up to 2,600 gold. We can kind of turn our attention towards late game here, Ben, although we might have a skirmish in the Dire jungle. How do you think the teams stack up if this goes later and later?
I think Unfortunately, the rest of Secret isn't going to be very useful, just because Puck has died a couple of times, and so maybe no.
They lasso Kuro. He gets pulled in with the BKB, but Sing Sing also silenced. Where's that Wisp relocate out? It was used too late. They end up dropping Sing Sing. Now Quakeful on his own, and Quakeful will end up just retreating out, but as the BKB ends, they glimpse it back. He blinks to the north. Nice reaction by him, and the chakram off the mark, but still they keep eyes on him. That Wisp has returned and goes the other direction towards Bulba, trying to hit the Scarlet Mage alive. They still lose their Batrider in the end. Gem hits the deck. Simba happily claims that one, and the fight continues onwards. S4 does finally get melted. Pycat, I feel like we haven't seen this guy all game, gets into the fight. Kuro used his Mana Void to finish off Bulba. Pycat returning the favor, but Kuro got another kill on the Wisp. It's a double for him. It might well be a triple as this BKB from Pycat expires. Maybe he can't go for that Razor. Plus 112 damage. A 3 for 4 in the end. Kuroki just essentially nibbling away at the edges of what Tinker can bring to the team fights. And Ben, big thing is they could not keep the Ember alive.
Yeah, and that's where he probably should offer a BKB, just because if a fight goes that poorly as soon as Ember dies, he's just more crucial than initially thought. And I don't know if the relocate came out a little bit late or what, but
I'm not sure. He had it, he used it, and it was late. I'm not sure if he got silenced or stunned or what happened.
Or just didn't expect the burst coming out from Sing Sing. He had his Flame Guard activated.
Yeah, that's true. But all he really has HP-wise is a drums. He is level 17, still fairly vulnerable. And that gives Kuroki 5,100 gold.
I mean, he can get an Abyssal at this point and wreck Ember Spirit. I think that's probably the scariest part of Anti-Mage in this particular situation. I mean, he can get a Butterfly too, but I don't really think he needs it. I think they just need Lockdown, kill Ember Spirit, and then call it a day.
Let's see what he wants. Still holding his money for now. But he still has the Stout Shield and picks up the Town Portal Scroll. All right, not spending his gold yet. Big purchase there from Kuro.
Vlad's for Roche is also not a bad idea.
He goes hard.
Okay.
A little more old school, cool, traditional safe build from the Anti-Mage.
This will make him rather immune to Batrider, Lasso, plus Burst. I don't think he can die in that.
That's where Sing Sing, yeah, he might need a BKB now, but to take this Anti-Mage down, they're going to need physical damage as this goes later. He is reasonably farmed. The Razor's actually overtaken him. Pycat is quietly, I mean, he hasn't really been involved in the fights at all.
He has to be there first to scout out the Disruptor so that Sing Sing doesn't die. I actually think that it's more of like Pycat's entering the fight late as well as Sing Sing not actually waiting for him that led to that disaster.
Yeah, if they fight together, it would seem like they can take the fight. Kuroki was not strong enough to take the Razor in that one with the stolen damage.
2692 HP on Anti-Mage. That's a lot. And then Butterfly coming out, I mean, you have to expect it within the next 6 or 7 minutes for him.
Yeah, can Tinker keep up? I mean, they have 3 cores next on the list in terms of net worth. Overall, it's still a lead for them, but it may get to that point where Ember does spread damage. Razor doesn't have any lockdown. It's not like you have a Void on this team who can just solo and control the enemy carry. They may not be able to kill Kuroki at all.
I think the Batrider has to match Puck's farm and utility in the fights too. He might have to go like a Scythe of Vice plus Refresher into the later game. And Quakefoot is excellent at farming as a Batrider, as we've seen. He is 1 and 4 in this particular situation, but still 2,000 net worth above the Puck. As long as he keeps that up, I think they'll be okay. Razor's matching Timber, kind of. I guess Ember plus Razor are matching Timber plus Anti-Mage, but Anti-Mage is spiraling into oblivion with his net worth.
The good kind of oblivion.
The good kind of oblivion. The positive oblivion.
Yes.
The, oh my gosh, I don't know what to spend my gold on.
I'm just rolling in the gold, says Kuro. Well, now clear out his jungle. He's got another 1,200 gold in the bank, so he could get that talisman soon if that's his choice. Generally, when we see the heart, we don't see a BKB after that. Normally, it's a more offensive pickup.
Razor might be going for a Scythe.
I kind of like that. They are light on lockdown.
Yeah.
And eventually, you can build a Refresher, and then you've got double Scythe, double Ultimate, and double BKB. I think this has good synergy with the way he's already itemized.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
It gives them more of a late game option. And honestly, with that build, if they get a Hex on him, they have the Wisp, they have the Batrider, they have fantastic initiation and lockdown, and if there's only an Anti-Mage who's truly farmed in like 15, 20 minutes, Tinker may well be able to out late game Secret.
Wow, Big Daddy actually has a Acceptor too, so now BKBs might actually not be that effective versus him, and Razor's going to have to BKB prematurely. Ember also going to have the BKB prematurely. He did opt for that build instead of the crit.
And it's a 10-second BKB.
To be fair, Razor could also be building a Scotty or a Lincoln's, but I don't really think either of those are his ideal choice.
Yeah, nothing on the courier and nothing in the base yet. So he hasn't really tipped his hand as to how he wants to go. And the game in general does slow down. You could see we've had scattered fights like every 2 to 3 minutes for the past 25 or so, and the past 5 to 6. It's been quiet town while Kuroki continues to accelerate his farm. Now up to a 5.5K gold lead. He's basically a full item up on everyone on Secret. It's been a long time since the days where an anti-mage could just carry a game solo. I wonder if they're coming again.
I think Disruptor probably needs a blink, though. It's just so crucial that he gets his ultimate off before they pop their BKBs, and if he gets them, they can just blink and coil and latch him into the static storm without use of the kinetic field. So it's imperative that they do not scout him out or just blow through a couple of smokes in the next fights. His ultimate is super important.
Kuroki is just fearless at this point. He's blinking through the enemy jungle. He's got supports like 2,000 units behind him, but it seems he's not afraid of anything Tinker can bring to muster.
He really shouldn't be.
He's too tanky.
Unless he blows his Manta and then gets Ancient Sealed for a ridiculously long duration.
And he has to be changed, and I probably Lasso. They have to get all their stuns off. And meanwhile, Pycat will get initiated on. He walks out of the static storm, though the other direction. The kinetic field didn't hold him in place in time, so he's able to BKB. This sounds the alarm and the retreat for Secret. It's a 10-second BKB forced out, but they get that Disruptor kill. And now they chase forward, looking for a bit more. S4 on the run, Kuroki also on the run. All the remnants used by Sing Sing finds the chains on Kuro, who tries to TP out, but they got a lasso. They found him and locked him in place. He's already Manta too. They silence him as well. Can they take down the AM? Yes, they can. Taker, what a pickoff. I mean, the Disruptor is one thing, but getting the 2 kills there, that is massive.
Man, Pycat and Sing Sing both making big plays there. Pycat dodging the ultimate so that he can BKB before they swoop down on him. And then on top of that, Sing Sing going for the extra kill on that ever so elusive anti-mage.
Well, with that, the graph tips back in their favor. Can they Roche off of this? Kuroki does have buyback. Disruptor will be up very soon.
The question is, AA ult will just blast them at this point. We might see Pycat very close to death.
It's only a level 1 ult, though.
Oh, it is? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, no.
He's really under leveled. And no farm either. I guess it's all gone to Big Daddy.
Yeah, I would say Big Daddy's ult is more important Ags upgraded than Ancient Apparitions. I think that was the right call from them.
Especially with all these BKBs, yeah, you can shatter through magic immunity, but you're not taking the damage from it. So the way they're itemizing, he'd have limited utility. Whereas potentially, oh, there's your Hex. Potentially that Disruptor Eggs can prevent the BKBs from even being popped in the first place.
You know, Pycat's one of those players that does a fantastic job of transitioning from the early to mid to late, which is something that is actually very difficult for a lot of players. And we saw it from his axe the other day. Oh, look at Sing Sing. He's actually doesn't have the
They're going in now. The Static Storm is there, but Sing Sing walks out of it. He's glimpsed back to the left. He says thank you. And the coil will break, but it's good news for him. He zips forward now looking for Big Daddy. Chains were used. Didn't slight. He was just a little bit out of range for where he wanted to cast the Sleight of Fist. And a hasted Big Daddy will retreat again. A misfire for Big Daddy. He was flawless on day one, and in their first game against Na'Vi, it was just a wrecking crew from Secret. He's not played terribly, but he certainly hasn't been hitting the big combos either.
They need Scythe on Puck and or Blink on Disruptor to make these go as smooth as they wanted to. They've had 2 missed kills. First one ended in disaster. Second one ended in just a little bit of waste of time for Secret, but these are the kills that they really want to get with the Disruptor and its ultimate, and the Axe Scepter hasn't proved to be useful at all in the last 10 minutes.
That was a nice go too, because Tinker actually had 3 heroes like towards the bottom side of the map, and they would not have been able to get there quick enough to save him. Maybe some other heroes would have died on the retreat, but they would have gotten that kill for sure.
Maybe spring for a move on a top lane, EGM hiding out.
Big Daddy's lurking behind Fly. The old teammates still palling around together.
I think they saw him with that Observer Ward, though.
Did they see, they saw Big Daddy as well?
I'm assuming so, that with that ward and the trees all cut down.
Okay, yeah, you're right. He's deforested too many trees. It works against him. Now they glimpse back the Ember, but his instant zip out. Sing Sing too elusive. He's now charging in again. He's got a Remnant ready to go. Kuro does have a Manta out of this one. And that sounds the retreat. EGM getting shredded by these illusions. Still they're chasing though, because they've got Koikfa here. BKB is available. He hasn't used it. Another slight from Sing Sing, and now Big Daddy is going down. Although he may take someone with him as this ship plummets. No, they just get that kill and retreat. Secret again, just forced to sacrifice and cut their losses and retreat. Jesus, they need that Hex, man. S4 finally almost has it.
Secret has been trying kind of the same thing for the past like 8 or 9 minutes, which is trying to control top and get a quick kill with Disruptor Ultimate, but Team Tinker has been very privy to that information and reacting accordingly. They always have Wisp sitting behind Sing Sing. Whenever Razor's farming, he was really close to that T2 and just fingers really quick on those BKBs and just dodging the kinetic field and Dream Coil so that they can actually pop their BKBs.
So Pycat is not going Refresher next. He picks up a Talisman of Evasion. Could be your Butterfly. Heaven's Halberd is, I guess, a slight possibility.
Really? I think Refresher's like a... Probably, I mean...
Well, he's already bought the Talisman.
I mean, it's by far better than Butterfly, I feel like, in this game. Because Kiro hasn't had that much uptime in his team fights at all. And they've just been shutting him down constantly and forced to use Manta defensively to split out an Ancient Seal, as well as a Searing Chains. And then he can't really commit too hard because the other one, Ancient Seal...
They're going to try it again, top lane. EGM's behind Sing Sing. They're going to use him to start. The relocate out could come. BKB was used by Sing Sing, and he's just going to turn and fight this one. Jumps onto Big Daddy. Again, they just can't pick Sing Sing off. And he charges forward, sliding through again. Remnant sent one way. Big Daddy trapped on the other side. Now gets the silence up, burns down, and barely able to escape. Puppey was one spirit away from his death. Sing Sing still taking damage to that Static Storm.
Wow, I clicked on...
He just keeps on dodging these ganks. That's like the 3rd or 4th time they failed to kill him.
I clicked on Disruptor. S4.
There's your Hex from Pycat. Oh, BKB, he has an Aegis and he works quickly on S4. Well, Phase Shift tries to retreat out, but now Sing Sing's arriving. The Cavalry's coming. I think they relocated a bit behind to try and turn this, and they get the gem from S4. Again, Tinker just kill after kill after kill.
After the Yules, Disruptor had, I think, 1.5 seconds left on his ultimate cooldown, and that's really what they wanted to hit after that. I don't actually know if you can BKB out of the Yules Disruptor ultimate, but it didn't really matter because he didn't drop it in time.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4 pickoffs in a row unanswered, I believe, and they just got their gem back. It's not just the kills for me. It's like Secret just cannot seem to chain a gank together. This has been like 10 minutes that they just can't get the job done.
Yeah, and on top of that, they wanted to go in for a Puck Blink Sheep with Anti-Mage blinking on and Manta style, but Pycat just ruined that by counter-hexing the Puck before he can get a Hex of his own.
And Kuroki, with all that farm, we have not really seen him threaten the base. There's still a tier... Oh, actually, hold that thought. Koikfa is jumping in for Fly. He has a lasso ready to go. The Wisp relocate is coined down in 5, so I think he is going to chase this out. Although during that time, they're going to TP in Hero's top. This could end poorly if he continues. Tower deny comes bottom. Sing Sing slowing down that anti-mage's push again. But yeah, Kuroki has not yet threatened the base despite all that farm. And generally at this stage of the game, you expect the anti-mage to be able to do it, but they've just done such a good job of de-pushing and not over-committing to fights and losing their focus in the process.
I think in retrospect, the Heart didn't really work out for him. If he goes Vlads, they can just threaten Roche and just do picks on bottom instead of the top lane. Or he can go for a BKB, which is much safer than a Heart build. So, I don't know. It hasn't seemed to have clicked for him. I mean, he's almost 6-slotted.
And does Secret just start... their supports are pretty strong on paper, in theory, but Puppey's Eggs is just so far off. And the Disruptor Eggs has felt quite useless. Maybe the Hex from S4 changes matters. It is up now. He got the Razor got the jump on him in the last fight, but if he's able to use his Hex offensively, perhaps they can turn this. Still, I worry when Tinker get that eventual Refresher on Pycat, and it looks like Koikfa, well, Shiva's completed. Refresher is a possible next item for maybe he goes Hex. But either way, I mean, they're about to get 6-slotted on their Bat Rider. I mean, granted not, tier 4 items, but you don't generally build those on that hero.
And on top of that, even though Anti-Mage is like 7,000 net worth above Sing Sing. Sing Sing does a lot more damage in these team fights. Firstly, he has an AoE capabilities with Sleight of S. You can't really count Battle Fury as one because Team Tinker's not going to be clumped. And he hasn't died as much. And he can also just run in, not as fearless, but still pretty fearless because he has BKB, which Kiro can't really afford a slot on at this point.
I wonder if Secret feels a sense of urgency at this point. They've failed on a few ganks. They are grouping up towards the top. The Ancient Apparition of Puppey is quite far off, but he may be more useful the farther away he is, just to get that bigger AoE on the Ice Blast. And they keep on fencing around like they want to consider this high ground breach.
That's really
But they're
risky.
not going
They
for
wanted
it.
to go in with like a Blink Scythe into a Disruptor Ultimate, but they've already failed too many times, and Tinker just responded fantastically. If like an EO TP's in with a BKB Razor behind them, they're going to get mopped up.
Ice Blast will come through, fails to connect on EGM. I think it got the debuff on Koikfa. But as soon as Tinker saw the puck showing top, they just pinged out the bottom tier too, because they figure that puck's not alone. So they just take a free tower. No trade, really. I mean, they're farming, but they're not taking objectives. Secret. Of course, if it comes to just breaking the base, the anti-mage is fantastic for that, and all Tinker have is the Razor. Although he is a quick pusher, he's got to be in position for it. But they just haven't found those openings. And now the relocate onto Big Daddy, drops the Static Storm in wait. Nicely done. Coil to follow this. This could be the fight that Secret have been waiting for. They were prepared. EGM to drop, Sing Sing to fall. Finally the opening. It's given when Tinker go aggressive. Now the Razor coming in. He didn't BKB. He gets Yuled up in the air. Now Koikfa's BKB will come to life. Kuroki starting to lose his damage, but he'll break that link and then bleeps in again. Koikfa getting low, he'll fall. Mana Void from Kuro just to ensure that they get that third kill. Now Bulb on the TP out, sliced and diced to smithereens. He goes back to the well, and Secret, after 4 or 5 failed ganks, they find one good fight, and they wipe Tinker off the map. A 4,000 gold swing and a 7,000 experience swing. And more importantly, Ben, they're looking to break the base. It's been such a good showing from Tinker all game long, but one bad fight, that might just be it. Pycat now called out. It's a wipe. Oh, or is it? Yeah, there it is.
Well, that's what happens when you don't preemptively pop the BKB on Ember Spirit. Unfortunately, it's just one mistake that really cost them. And on top of that, Kiro had a DD. I don't think they really saw that on him, and he was just trucking through all their armor.
He's going to he could get the bottom racks as well. There is still a tier 2 city mid. He's already heading straight for it. He actually cancels the Wisp TP at the tier 4s. Not that it makes a huge difference, but just an intimidation factor is what Kuro's bringing to the table. Even the Wisp trying to get in range with these balls is very risky. Razor will be forced to buy back. Kuroki's already done his damage though, brings down the tier 3. He focuses on the range. He walks into Pycat, he'll blink out to break that link. S4 now trying to retreat. He can potentially blink out if he's quick. He'll orb instead, but he gets hexed. He gets focused. Will they kill him? No, not yet. Kuro leaping forward again, Manta in 13. He's taking decent minus armor, now Silence, no Manta. As the chase continues, could they get this kill? This is difficult. They need a change from Sing Sing. They'll get it. Mystic Flare, blink out. Couldn't do it. The Manta was still cooling down for a second longer. 100 seconds on the sideline, but as you might expect after all that, he's got buyback. And they did take a lane and a half of Rex. There was a glimpse back onto Pycat, it looks like.
They really need the Aegis on Razor at this point. I think he was the only hero that bought back for that entire skirmish. And yeah, I mean, Secret, their game plan is just highly unusual. They went top, they failed with the same gank maybe 5 times, and then one time it works, and then they get racked in half of it. And that just proves to you that they just have good game plans. They know that that gank is just that effective if they pull it off even one time out of 5 or 6.
Yeah, like Secret screwed up how many fights? But that was the big one, because they lost Sing Sing there, and they ended up losing Pycat in the end when they breached high ground. And I'm not sure how many buybacks Tinker actually had ready. Even now, they still don't have any. So I guess they only had the one on the Razor. And that just cost them. They got caught without buyback. Has Sing Sing BKB'd prematurely before the relocate in, though? Could have been a different fight.
Yeah, Ember has to play flawlessly, I think, from here on out.
Well, still they have some late game promise, but the item progression really slows down. What was once a 5K, 6K gold lead for Kuroki is now a 10K gold lead. And also the Timbersaw is caught up nicely. He's right there with the other cores. He had the Bloodstone for some time. He's now got 14 charges. Yule Scepter was also out for a while, but now he also picks up a Shiva's Guard and 2,400 gold. And this is going to be your ultra late game anti-mage. Abyssal Blade the choice. With this, one wrong move from the Ember, and he's just flat out dead.
Even with the BKB, he still might die.
Yeah.
With AA ult plus anti-mage right clicks with Manta and Abyssal.
That's true. Plus, does he even get to use that BKB with the Hex? It's not a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
And if EGM comes in close, then Kuroki just goes on the Wisp instead. So it is tricky now, more so than it was before for Sing Sing. Man, it would be a shame for Tinker if they go on to lose this game. After the way he played early, you can't ask for more out of your Ember Spirit.
Sing Sing's only used BKB one time, though. It's still a 9-second BKB. It's just way better to use it earlier than later, and I think he's waiting for like a really good timing, like when Puck silences him or when I don't know, Timbersaw is about to hit with a big burst, but just better safe than sorry.
They do get eyes on S4, and then they lasso him. Relocate's coming immediately. Onto the puck they'll go, and Pycat's here to join him with the Hex. They get the quick takedown, and on to S4. And now they chase for more. Big Daddy getting lashed by Pycat, but able to TP out. Mystic Flare was just a little too late to secure that kill. And they will end up retreating out in the end. They lose the puck, but the difference here for Tinker is they're not taking objectives when they get their kills now. With the bottom lane pushed in, Ranger X down, the top lane fully caved through. It's just tough to take more than a kill here or there.
Secret just needs one more gank like that. Actually, maybe not on Ember Spirit, since he doesn't have a buyback, but after the Aegis is down or after one of the buybacks is burned, just same thing. Disruptor ulti into Puck or Anti-Mage blinking in with his Abyssal, and they have more options available to them now that Anti-Mage is 6-slotted.
How much of a shot do you give them now that they've lost a lane and half of Rex?
It's still not that bad. I mean, Tinker can also do the same thing to Secret if they take a big team fight. The problem is Kuroki is going to have buyback, and I don't know if they can take him down twice, so it's going to be a very prolonged battle of attrition, I feel, if Tinker wants to win, whereas Secret, all they need to do, wait out the Aegis, probably kill Razor one more time, and then it could be game from there.
Kuroki goes up to the high ground. He gets hexed immediately by Pycat, who pops his ult, gets off the static link. There is that Abyssal Blade, but he's been chained in place, so now Manta out of it, and then he leaps away. He doesn't want to lose any more damage.
No, he's up there.
Oh, this BKB is down, though, but they find Big Daddy with the lasso. Finish him off. Kuro may... Oh, he blinks back into the tree line. He's worried that the Bat Rider will come in and start looking for him, and Koikva's actually just pushing. They actually ping... Was that Kuroki who pinged there, or was that Koikva?
I'm not sure, but with Disruptor down for 45 seconds, I mean, that's the word go for them. That's really the only thing that's just absolutely screwing them over in team fights. If they can't pop their BKB, then they'll probably die, but with Disruptor gone, they have no worries. Maybe the Hex, but they have 4 steps to counter that. Yeah,
the Hex is more of an issue when like it's, one by one that they're falling down. Kuroki is not creep cutting the wave. I imagine he'll do this as soon as he sees a few heroes grouping up, or perhaps even goes mid and split pushes that.
Well, he doesn't have a TP scroll, so he can't.
Oh, you're right.
He can't really do that. Oh, actually, they have eyes on him. There's a.
Yeah, the lane ward. The lane ward. But it's one thing to see him, and another thing to actually kill him. Looks like Tinker will potentially grab a tier 2 as an exchange. Koikva rotating through towards the river. Kuroki will jump in though. There's your Abyssal Blade. Oh, Mana Void's gonna shred him. Just popped like a pinata. He even looks for another jump in. He sees Boba, one stun, and Boba's dead. Will concussive shot. Sing Sing tries to close the gap, but the cavalry is coming through. They bring in reinforcements. Pycat has the Aegis for now, but he's going to die the first time, potentially. Actually got relocated out, brought to safety by EGM. Still, when he comes back, can they win this? Kuro changed up, held in place, doesn't have Abyssal Blade, cooldown for 30. Remnant up to the high ground, didn't get the first hit bash. Sing Sing still retreating. They're bringing in EGM. They did not bring in the Razor, did they? I don't see him. Anyway, EGM looks like he might go down here. Coiled, and onto the high ground. Kuro will go. They Yuled up. Sing Sing, he comes back down to earth. Kuroki wins the man fight. Very close to dying. Now goes on to EGM and gets that kill too. And actually the last hit going to Simba. And they did leave Pycat behind mid lane with the Aegis, with a completed butterfly. Should he have been brought into that fight?
I think he should have just... They didn't need to do anything to him. He just dies with the Aegis and then comes back. I mean, he didn't have his Eye of the Storm, but they really needed his physical damage output. Sing Sing was just trying to 1v4 them at that point. And
Kuro was like one hit from death. Imagine if the Razor's there.
Yeah.
Maybe Secret just back if he comes up, but that's better than losing 3 more heroes.
And this will force an Ember buyback. And on top of that, they lost the Aegis because it just expired. So, I don't really think there was a point for Pycat to leave that fight.
Kuroki sees a massive creep way bottom, and he just wants to take out this melee Rax. He gets hexed immediately. Pycat does not want to let him get illusions on top of the buildings, but they TP in the Timbersaw just to let Simba tank up the front line. He'll try and clear out the wave here with the Chakram. But Kuroki regroups. He'll take the tier 2 mid, the safer tower. Up to 4.8k gold, so has the buyback. Buyback status in general for the Radiant good. 3 buybacks out, though now as the Timbersaw completes his Aghanim's, he won't have it. But Kuroki goes in, Abyssal Blade to start. On to Koikva, watch out for the Mana Void. Don't walk too close to that bat. Boom, does a lot of damage, doesn't finish anyone. Sing Sing though, BKB charging forward. The Static Storm didn't manage to latch on in time. Tinker got off their BKBs, perhaps they have a shot from here. Simba caught out, no buyback, but he has a actually no, now he has it. He's able to buy back. Just got enough gold from that fight. It's a big bounty though, given the other way. The bottom melee racks are still alive. There's a glyph even up on Tinker. I feel like Kuroki could have just gone for that instead of trying to force the fight.
still, they bought back on Sing Sing. That's, I think, really what they were after. And at the end of the day, they trade a couple unimportant heroes' lives. Timbersaw has Bloodstone, so his revive timer is only like 25 seconds or so. And then they kill Batrider and force the buyback out of Amber Spear. That's a win for them.
And the graph certainly agrees with you there. With this double Chakram, Simba as well as Kroki, they can just keep the lanes in constantly. And he's not overly worried about relocate ganks, unless they commit 3-4 heroes. And with the lanes always pushing in, that becomes more difficult. Secret beginning to corner Tinker inside their base.
Koikwa's getting massacred.
They hex S4. Can they focus him in time? That slight does good damage, not enough to finish him off. EGM in a bit far, I think, as the double Chakram will connect him. Then he comes back. Anti-Mage leaps in, shreds the Ember. Sing Sing, that's a dieback for him. They might lose EGM as well, tethering up to the high ground, but S4's there to greet him, finishing off his former teammate. And then they get another kill with the Monovoid of Kroki. He struts across the tier 4s, and it's Secret who bounced back from an early deficit. It was literally one good fight top lane, and they went from 4 to 5 fights lost in a row. Yeah, there were pickoffs, not full 5-man wipes, to taking late of racks, and from there, it was just all Secret all the way.
The thing was, the pressure was always on Tinker, even though they were out farming them maybe slightly and had better map control in every part of the map. All it took was one late BKB, and I actually didn't know if it was a late BKB by him. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he got like glimpsed back or something like that, but I mean, who knows with the BKB. But all it takes is just one bad fight, whether or not it's like Koikva missing a lasso, getting caught out by Anti-Mage, or Razor not being there early enough. Just like one small mistake like that, and they just lose everything.
Well, game one, Tinker showed promise, but they could not convert on it. How do you rate their chances going into game two?
Still pretty good. I mean,
I kind of agree. I feel like they went blow for blow. It was just the one mistake that cost them the game.
Yeah, but that shows you that it was a much sounder strategy by Team Secret. If they have that much room for error, they just fail 5 ganks. They have multiple deaths. S4's Scythe of Vice got delayed heavily. Kiro got picked off a couple of times where he shouldn't have, and it still didn't matter in the end. So they just had so much more wiggle room in their strategy, even though it didn't really seem like that. It's just a better constructed draft, and even with the 2 cores, even with the Scythe of Vice on Razor, they still couldn't handle Kiro.
And they didn't crack under pressure. Despite all those ganks, Big Daddy still delivered when it counted again on that support. So with that said, guys, Secret take a 1-0 lead, but it is a best of 3, our first knockout match of Starladder Season 10. I'm LD, he's Merlini, and we'll be right back for game number 2 as well as some breakdown of game 1. Stay tuned, you're watching Starladder Season 10. eSportsBets.com, the service where gamers will bet real money on virtual events. Only here, the best odds and widest coverage of games from Dota 2 to Hearthstone. We have over 200,000 users registered. Join us. Prove that you are the best versed in esports. Who will get the first blood? Who will take the first Roshan? Who will win the knife round? Participate in the race of predictors and earn real money. The more bids, the more bonuses. Reward for your first deposit up to $600. eSportsBets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation.